In a small Nigerian town, there was a young woman named Joy. She was regarded as one of the most beautiful women in the community. She had a way about her, a confidence, a charm that made people stop and take notice. Joy knew how to carry herself. She knew how to use her looks and wit to get what she wanted. Her life wasn't easy. She grew up in a family that struggled to make ends meet, and as the oldest child, the pressure to support her siblings weighed heavily on her. But Joy had no intention of struggling like her parents. She believed she deserved more, and she was determined to get it, no matter what it took. It started small: a free lunch from a man who admired her smile, a ride home for someone hoping to impress her. Joy would accept their offers, thank them sweetly, and never look back. Over time, she realized just how much men were willing to do for her. "Why should I work hard," she often thought, "when men are ready to hand me everything I need?" One day, as she sat with her friend Ifeoma at a local restaurant, Joy laid out her thoughts. "You're crazy, Joy," Ifeoma said, shaking her head. "This lifestyle you're chasing, it's risky." "Risky? How?" Joy replied with a confident laugh. "All I'm doing is using my head. These men, they're all the same. Once they think they have a chance, they'll do anything for you." "But what if one of them finds out?" Ifeoma asked. Joy waved her off. "Find out what? Please. If they're dumb enough to fall for it, that's their problem." Ifeoma sighed, but she knew there was no talking sense into Joy. Soon, Joy's schemes became bolder. She targeted wealthier men who could afford to send her money without asking too many questions. She perfected her lies, tailoring them to each victim. To one man, she was a struggling student who needed money for tuition. To another, she was a loving girlfriend saving for a business. One of these men was Mr. Chidi, a middle-aged contractor who had recently come into some money. He was kind, generous, and eager to please. To Joy, he was the perfect target. "My love," Joy said one evening as they sat in his car, "you don't know how much you mean to me." Mr. Chidi smiled, placing a hand on hers. "And you mean the world to me too, Joy. That's why I don't mind helping you." "Thank you, babe," she replied, resting her head lightly on his shoulder. "You don't know how much this means to me." "But," he hesitated, "are you sure you're okay? You seem distracted lately." Joy sighed, lowering her gaze. "It's just my family. Things have been tough for us, and I'm trying to keep it all together." "Don't worry," he said quickly. "I'll take care of it. Just tell me what you need." Joy's heart soared. She named an amount, which he sent to her without hesitation. What she didn't know was that Mr. Chidi was not an ordinary man. He had a dark side, one that didn't take betrayal lightly. He began to notice her inconsistencies, the vague answers, the mysterious phone calls, and the way she seemed to vanish for days at a time. He didn't confront her immediately. He decided to dig deeper. At the time, Joy was juggling multiple men, each believing they were special to her. She fed them lies tailored to their personalities. She had become bold, spending her evenings in upscale lounges, targeting wealthy men. To avoid suspicion, she saved their numbers under fake names and met them in places far from prying eyes. But greed has a way of making people sloppy. One evening, she slipped up. Joy had been messaging a new target, a young banker named Samuel, while sitting in Mr. Chidi's car. She thought she was discreet, typing away while Mr. Chidi stepped out to take a phone call. What she didn't notice was that her phone's screen had reflected clearly in the rearview mirror. Mr. Chidi didn't say anything, but his suspicions grew. Later that week, Mr. Chidi paid a visit to the boutique he had funded for Joy, the one she claimed was her dream business. To his surprise, the shop was empty and the doors locked. The boutique didn't even exist. Furious, he hired someone to investigate her. Within days, the investigator returned with a file full of information that confirmed Mr. Chidi's worst fears. Joy was not just deceiving him, she was actively manipulating at least 5 other men in similar ways, Each man believed he was the only one helping her, and each man had been fed the same lies. Mr. Cheedy clenched his jaw as he flipped through photos of Joy on dates with other men, the messages she had sent them, and the bank transfers she had convinced them to make. "She played me," he muttered under his breath, slamming the file shut. "She thinks she's clever, but she doesn't know who she's dealing with." That evening, Joy received a message from him. "My love, I have a surprise for you. Meet me at my friend's house tomorrow evening. I want to do something special for you." Joy smiled to herself. A surprise? Knowing Mr. Cheedy, it had to be something big. She imagined a car, maybe even cash for another emergency. She didn't hesitate to accept the invitation. The next evening, she arrived at the address he sent. It was a large house on the outskirts of town. She walked in, her heart racing with excitement. "Babe?" she called out. "I'm here," he replied from the living room. She found him sitting on a couch, his expression unreadable. 3 other men stood nearby, their faces cold and unfriendly. "Joy," Mr. Cheedy said, his voice calm but firm, "do you know why I brought you here?" Her smile faltered. "No, but what's going on? Who are these people?" "These are my friends," he said, gesturing toward the men. "We've been talking about you, about the lies you've been telling." Joy's heart sank. "What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean." "Don't play dumb," he snapped. "Did you think I wouldn't find out about the other men? About the money you've been taking from all of us? You thought you were smart, but tonight you'll learn what it means to cross the wrong people." One of the men stepped forward, blocking her path to the door. "Babe, please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to—" "It's too late for that," he said coldly. What happened next was a nightmare Joy would never forget. When she was found days later, she was barely alive. Her once beautiful face was scarred beyond recognition, her body bruised. The men who had attacked her disappeared. In the hospital, Joy stared at her reflection, unable to recognize the person she once was. Her charm, her confidence, her beauty, it was all gone. And with it went the life she had built on lies. Her story became a cautionary tale, a warning to anyone tempted by the allure of easy wealth. Greed may promise gold, but it often delivers ashes. Be wise.